My dear friend, come closer and let me share with you the most profound secret I have ever discovered. A secret that has the power to transform not just your financial circumstances, but your entire experience of life itself. What I'm about to reveal to you is not theory, not philosophy, not mere inspiration. It is the fundamental law by which all human experience is created. The world around you right now, your current financial state, your circumstances, your limitations. These are not permanent fixtures of reality carved in stone by some external force. They are simply the hardened impressions of your past assumptions, crystallized into what you call your facts. But here's what most people never realize. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the author of them. Let me begin by destroying the greatest illusion that keeps humanity in bondage. The belief that you are separate from your circumstances, that you are at the mercy of external forces, that wealth is something outside of you that must be pursued, captured, and hoarded. This is the lie that has kept generations trapped in cycles of struggle and limitation. The truth is far more magnificent and far more empowering. You and your circumstances are one. You and your wealth are one. You and your abundance are one. Everything you see in your outer world is the faithful reproduction of states of consciousness you have entertained. Your bank account is not separate from your consciousness. It is your consciousness made visible. Your opportunities are not independent of your inner state. They are your inner state taking form in the world of appearances. This means that to change your outer world, you must first change your inner world. To transform your circumstances, you must first transform your consciousness. To experience wealth, you must first become wealthy in mind and feeling. Listen carefully, my friend, because this will revolutionize how you see yourself and your relationship with wealth. Everything you experience in your outer world is first born in the invisible realm of consciousness. Your current bank account, your current opportunities, your current limitations, all of these began as assumptions in your mind. When I speak of assumptions, I'm not talking about positive thinking or wishful hoping. I'm not speaking of affirmations repeated without feeling or visualizations performed without conviction. I'm speaking of something far more powerful, the art of living from your desired end, of assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, not as something you hope to achieve, but as something that already is. Most people approach wealth backward. They say, when I have the money, then I'll feel wealthy. When I see the bank account, then I'll believe in abundance. When the circumstances change, then I'll change my assumption. But I tell you this fundamental truth. You must first become wealthy in consciousness before wealth can manifest in your experience. The outer world is always the result of the inner world, never the cause of it. Think of it this way. If you wanted to see a beautiful sunrise, would you paint the sunrise on your window and expect the sun to rise? Of course not. The sunrise exists independently of your window. Your window merely reflects what already is. In the same way, your outer circumstances are merely the window through which your inner state is reflected back to you. Your imagination, my dear friend, is not mere fantasy. It is the very workshop of creation itself. It is the divine faculty through which the unseen becomes seen. The impossible becomes possible. The desired becomes actual. Every fortune that has ever been built was first constructed in someone's imagination. Every empire, every breakthrough, every transformation began as an imaginal act. Before Carnegie built his steel empire, he built it in his mind. Before Disney created his magical kingdom, he walked through its gates in his imagination. Before Ford revolutionized transportation, he saw the vision of every man owning an automobile. But here's where most people stumble catastrophically. They use their imagination to rehearse their problems instead of their promises. They lie in bed at night imagining their bills, their struggles, their fear. They replay conversations that went poorly, scenarios that frightened them, outcomes they dread. And then they wonder why these very things persist and multiply in their experience. Your imagination is like a fertile garden. Whatever seeds you plant in it will grow. If you plant seeds of lack, struggle, and limitation, that is what will grow in your experience. If you plant seeds of abundance, prosperity, and wealth, that is what will flourish in your world. I'm asking you to make a radical shift. Tonight, when you close your eyes, don't count your problems, count your blessings that haven't yet appeared. Feel yourself already living from the state you desire. Walk through the rooms of your imagined success. Feel the weight of prosperity in your hands. Hear the sounds of your fulfilled life. Make your imagination your ally, not your enemy. Use it to build the life you want, not to reinforce the life you don't want. Here's something I learned that changed my entire relationship with wealth. And it will change yours too. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. More precisely, you attract what you assume yourself to be. This is why affirmations often fail. Why vision boards collect dust. Why goal setting frequently leads to disappointment. These techniques focus on what you want to have or want to do, but they don't address the fundamental question: who do you assume yourself to be? If you assume yourself to be a person who struggles with money, who finds it hard to make ends meet, who believes that money doesn't grow on trees, and you have to work hard for every dollar, then no matter how many affirmations you repeat or how many vision boards you create, struggle will be your experience. But if you assume yourself to be naturally prosperous, inherently valuable, and abundantly blessed, then circumstances must reshape themselves to confirm this assumption. This isn't wishful thinking. This is the law of assumption in operation. Your present identity was formed by your past assumptions. Every belief you hold about yourself, every limitation you accept, every possibility you embrace, all of these came from assumptions you made, often unconsciously, about who you are and what you're capable of. The magnificent truth is this: if you can assume an identity, you can assume a new one. You are not bound by your past. You are not limited by your history. You are not condemned to repeat your previous patterns. Start now, not tomorrow, not when conditions improve, not when you feel more confident, but now. Begin to assume the feeling of wealth. Walk a little differently, with the confidence of someone who knows their worth. Speak with a little more authority, with the voice of someone who has something valuable to offer. Make decisions from the state you're growing into, not the state you're growing out of. Let me share with you one of the most powerful techniques I've ever discovered: the art of revision. This practice alone has transformed more lives than any other single technique I know. Each night, before sleep, instead of reviewing your day as it was, revise it as it should have been. This isn't about denying what happened. It's about changing the impression these events leave on your consciousness. Did you have a conversation about money that left you feeling small and inadequate? Revise it. Replay that scene in your imagination, but this time see yourself responding from a state of prosperity and confidence. Hear yourself speaking with the authority of someone who knows their value. Did you receive news that disappointed you? Perhaps a rejection, a setback, or a no when you hoped for a yes? Revise it. Imagine receiving the news you desired instead. Feel the joy, the relief, the satisfaction of the outcome you wanted. Did you walk past a store window and feel lack because you couldn't afford what you saw? Revise it. Imagine walking past that same window with the comfortable knowledge that you could easily afford whatever caught your eye. This isn't denial of facts. This is the changing of the impression these facts leave upon your consciousness. Because it's not the external event that shapes your future, it's the internal impression it leaves behind. When you revise your day, you're not changing what happened in the past. You're changing the meaning you give to what happened, and meaning is what creates your future experiences. Now, let me be very clear about something that separates those who succeed with these principles from those who fail. It's not enough to think new thoughts. You must feel new feelings. I've met countless people who understand these principles intellectually, but never experienced their power because they try to think their way into a new reality without ever feeling their way there. When you imagine your wealth, you must feel wealthy. When you assume your success, you must feel successful. When you revise your day, you must feel the reality of the revised version. The feeling is the secret that breathes life into your imaginal acts. How does it feel to be financially free? Not just comfortable, but truly free to make choices based on desire rather than necessity? How does it feel to have multiple streams of income flowing to you effortlessly? How does it feel to be generous because you have abundance to share? How does it feel to make decisions without the constraint of financial limitation? Don't just think about these things, feel them. Saturate yourself in these feelings until they become natural to you, until they feel more real than your current circumstances. The feeling of wealth is different from the feeling of wanting wealth. The feeling of success is different from the feeling of hoping for success. The feeling of abundance is different from the feeling of needing abundance. You must learn to distinguish between these feelings and cultivate the feelings of fulfillment, not the feelings of desire. Let me tell you a story that illustrates the power of assumption. There was a man I knew who was deeply in debt, struggling to make ends meet, and feeling hopeless about his financial future. His external circumstances were quite dire, but this man understood the principle I'm sharing with you. Instead of focusing on his debts and limitations, he began to assume the feeling of financial abundance. Every night before sleep, he would imagine himself debt-free, prosperous, and generous. He would feel the relief of financial freedom, the joy of abundance, the satisfaction of being able to help others. During the day, when confronted with bills and financial pressures, instead of feeling overwhelmed, he would remind himself, this is just the old story playing out. My new story is one of abundance and prosperity. He began to carry himself differently, speak differently, make decisions differently. He stopped apologizing for his current circumstances and started living from his desired end. Within 6 months, opportunities began to appear. A business idea came to him that he had never considered before. Connections formed that opened doors he didn't even know existed. Resources materialized from unexpected sources. Within a year, he was not only debt-free, but had built a thriving business that generated more income than he had ever imagined possible. Did this happen because of luck? Because of coincidence? Because of some external force taking pity on him? No, it happened because he changed his assumption about himself and his relationship with money. He stopped assuming lack and started assuming abundance. He stopped identifying with limitation and started identifying with prosperity. The outer world had no choice but to conform to his inner conviction. I must warn you, my friend, the bridge between assumption and manifestation will test you in ways you cannot imagine. The old world, built on your former assumptions, will seem to resist your new claims. This is natural. This is temporary. This is the test that separates those who achieve lasting transformation from those who give up at the first sign of difficulty. When you begin to assume wealth consciousness, the old patterns will fight for their survival. Bills will still arrive. The bank account will still show the old figures. People will still treat you according to your past. Circumstances will seem to mock your new assumptions. This is not failure. This is not evidence that the principles don't work. This is the interval, the sacred space between assumption and manifestation, where your faith is being forged into fact. During this interval, you must live as if your assumption is already fact. You must remain faithful to your new state, regardless of what your senses report. Because what you're seeing with your physical eyes is the result of yesterday's assumptions, not today's. Imagine a farmer who plants seeds in the ground. For days, weeks, even months, there may be no visible sign of growth above the surface. Would the farmer dig up the seeds because he doesn't see immediate results? Of course not. He knows that growth is happening beneath the surface, in the unseen realm, and that in due time, the harvest will appear. Your assumptions are like seeds planted in the soil of consciousness. Trust the process. Have faith in the unseen. Remain faithful to your new assumptions, even when the old circumstances persist. Now I want to talk to you about the wealthy mind. The wealthy think from abundance, not about abundance. There's a profound difference that most people never grasp. Thinking about wealth while feeling poor creates internal conflict and mixed results. Your mind is divided, your energy is scattered, and your manifestations become confused and delayed. But thinking from wealth, assuming its reality, feeling its presence, making decisions from its truth. This creates the single-pointed focus, that moves mountains and transforms circumstances. Every morning when you wake, before you check your phone, before you review your problems, before you engage with the world's agenda, spend the first moments of consciousness establishing your wealthy state. Feel it, assume it, live from it. This is not a one-time exercise. This is a daily discipline. Just as you must eat every day to nourish your body, you must assume wealth every day to nourish your consciousness. Throughout your day, when challenges arise, ask yourself, how would I handle this if I were already wealthy? Then handle it that way. When opportunities present themselves, ask, what would I do if money were no object? Then do that. When you're making purchases, even small ones, make them from a state of abundance rather than scarcity. When you're paying bills, pay them with gratitude rather than resentment. When you're earning money, receive it with the expectation of more, rather than the fear of lack. Every interaction with money is an opportunity to reinforce your wealthy consciousness or to undermine it. Choose wisely. As you begin to assume wealth, you must also assume the responsibility that comes with it. True wealth consciousness includes the understanding that you are blessed to be a blessing. You are prospered to prosper others. This is not just a moral obligation, it's a practical necessity. Wealth that is hoarded becomes stagnant. Wealth that is shared multiplies. Wealth that is used for the benefit of others becomes a magnet for more wealth. Begin now to think like a person who has wealth to share. Be generous with what you have, however small it may seem. Give not from your surplus, but from your substance. Give not when you can afford to, but when you can't afford not to. The universe cannot give you more until you prove yourself a good steward of what you've already been given. Every dollar you have is a test of your consciousness. How you handle small amounts determines how you'll be trusted with large amounts. You must understand something fundamental. You are not at the mercy of economic conditions, market forces, or external circumstances. These are merely the outpicturing of collective consciousness, and you can rise above them through the power of your individual assumption. When the world speaks of recession, you can assume prosperity. When others see limitation, you can see abundance. When the masses feel fear, you can feel faith. You are not subject to mass consciousness unless you choose to be. Your consciousness is your kingdom, and in this kingdom, you are sovereign. What you decree in consciousness must appear in experience, for consciousness is the only reality. Everything else is shadow, the shadow of consciousness, taking form in the world of appearances. This means you have the power to exempt yourself from any limitation, any lack, any circumstance that doesn't serve your highest good. You don't have to accept the world's verdict about what's possible for you. You don't have to bow to statistics or probabilities or realistic expectations. You can create your own reality by assuming it into existence. Here's what I want you to do, starting tonight and continuing every night for the rest of your life. Before sleep, when your conscious mind is quiet and your subconscious is most receptive, enter into the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Don't just think about wealth, feel wealthy. Don't just visualize success, feel successful. Don't just imagine abundance, feel abundant. Construct a scene that implies your financial success has already occurred. Make it specific, make it personal, make it meaningful to you. Perhaps you're writing a generous check to a charity you care about, feeling the joy of being able to give substantially. Perhaps you're calmly paying off a debt that once worried you, feeling the relief of financial freedom. Perhaps you're making an investment decision from a place of abundance rather than scarcity, feeling the confidence of someone who has options. Perhaps you're having a conversation with a loved one about a financial goal you've achieved, feeling the satisfaction of success. Perhaps you're walking through a home you've purchased, feeling the security of ownership. Perhaps you're reviewing your bank statement, feeling gratitude for the abundance it represents. Whatever scene you choose, make it vivid. See the details, hear the sound, feel the emotions that would be natural in that scene. Make it so real that for those moments, you forget its imagination. Repeat this scene until it feels familiar, until it feels real, until it feels inevitable. Then sleep in that assumption. Let your subconscious mind work through the night to make it so. When you wake in the morning, before you open your eyes, before you check your phone, before you engage with the world, spend a few moments remembering who you are. Not who you were yesterday, not who circumstances suggest you are, but who you are assuming yourself to be. Feel again the feeling of wealth. Assume again your prosperous identity. Set your consciousness to the frequency of abundance before you tune into the world's frequency of limitation. Throughout the day, whenever you notice yourself slipping back into old patterns of thinking or feeling, gently redirect your consciousness. Ask yourself, who am I assuming myself to be right now? If the answer doesn't align with your desire, make a new assumption. This is not a part-time practice. This is not something you do when you feel like it or when you remember. This is a way of life. This is the discipline that separates those who transform their circumstances from those who remain victims of them. I make you this promise, and I make it with absolute certainty, because it is based on law, not hope. If you will persist in these practices, if you will remain faithful to your new assumptions regardless of appearances, if you will live from your desired end rather than your current circumstances, then your outer world must and will conform to your inner convictions. This isn't theory, this is law. This isn't hope, this is certainty. This isn't possibility, this is promise. The same power that creates galaxies and governs the movement of planets is the power that operates through your consciousness. The same intelligence that orchestrates the seasons and maintains the balance of nature is the intelligence that responds to your assumptions. You are not separate from this power. You are not limited by this power. You are this power, individualized and expressing through your unique consciousness. You are not meant to struggle. You are not meant to lack. You are not meant to live beneath your dreams. You are meant to be the full expression of abundance, prosperity, and wealth consciousness. The only question is, will you assume it? Will you feel it? Will you live from it? Right now, in this very moment, you stand at a crossroads that will determine the trajectory of your entire life. You can continue to assume what you've always assumed and receive what you've always received. Or you can dare to assume something magnificent and watch as your world transforms to match. This is not a decision you can postpone. This is not something you can think about later. This is the moment of choice, and the choice you make right now will echo through every day of your future. I invite you to choose magnificence. I invite you to choose wealth consciousness. I invite you to choose the assumption that you are already the prosperous person you desire to be. Don't wait for conditions to improve. Improve your assumptions and watch conditions follow. Don't wait for the world to change. Change your consciousness and watch the world reshape itself around you. Don't wait for permission to be wealthy. Give yourself permission by assuming it to be so. Don't wait for proof that it works. Become the proof by making it work. The time is now. The power is within you. The choice is yours. Let me leave you with the most important truth of all. You are already wealthy. Not in potential, not in possibility, but in truth. Wealth is not something you need to acquire. It's something you need to accept. Abundance is not something you need to create. It's something you need to recognize. The infinite source of all wealth is within you right now. It has always been there. It will always be there. Your only job is to assume your oneness with it, to feel your connection to it, to live from the knowledge of it. Stop seeking wealth outside of yourself. Stop looking for it in circumstances, in other people, in external conditions. Find it within your own consciousness. Claim it as your own. Assume it as your truth. When you do this, when you truly accept your inherent wealth and live from that assumption, the outer world will have no choice but to confirm what you know to be true about yourself. Assume wealth, feel wealth, live wealth, be wealth, and so it is. Remember, my dear friend, repetition is the mother of all learning. Return to these truths daily, not as information to be understood, but as reality to be assumed. Listen to these words again and again until they become part of your consciousness, until they shape your assumptions, until they transform your life. For assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. And the fact you choose to harden through assumption will become the foundation upon which your entire experience is built. Choose wisely, assume boldly, live magnificently. Your wealth consciousness awaits.
Have you ever felt stuck or frustrated with trying too hard to manifest your desires? If your answer is yes, this video is for you. Today we'll explore the idea that you don't have to struggle or stress to create the life you want. Instead, you only need to embrace the understanding that it's already yours. Manifestation often feels like a strenuous task, one that requires immense effort, focus, and constant action. But what if I told you that the most powerful form of manifestation is effortless? It isn't about sitting idly by or being passive. Instead, it's about aligning with the natural flow of the universe. Effortless manifestation occurs when you let go of the need to control every detail. It's about trusting that the universe is working in your favor, even when you can't see the full picture. This doesn't mean you stop taking action, but rather that your actions come from a place of ease and alignment, not struggle and force. Consider the metaphor of a river. When you're in alignment, you're flowing downstream, effortlessly moving towards your desires. But when you try too hard, it's like swimming upstream against the current, expending unnecessary energy. Effortless manifestation is about trusting the flow, knowing that everything is already set in motion. The key to effortless manifestation is embracing the concept that it's already yours. But what does this truly mean? When you understand that everything you desire already exists in some form in the universe, you shift from a mindset of lack to one of abundance. It's not about trying to create something from nothing. It's about allowing what already exists to manifest in your reality. Think of it like planting a seed. When you plant a seed, you don't need to worry or stress about it growing. You trust that with the right conditions, it will naturally sprout and flourish. The same applies to your desires. There are seeds you've already planted in the universe. All you need to do is nurture them with belief, positive energy, and aligned action. Believing that it's already yours means recognizing that the universe is abundant and that there's no need to compete or struggle for what you want. When you release the need to try so hard, you allow the universe to deliver your desires in the most perfect way, often in ways you couldn't have imagined. To fully embrace effortless manifestation, it's crucial to align your mindset and beliefs with the understanding that your desires are already yours. This requires reprogramming any limiting beliefs that might be holding you back. Start by examining your current beliefs around manifestation and abundance. Do you believe that things have to be hard? Do you think you have to struggle to achieve your goals? These beliefs can create resistance and block the flow of manifestation. Shift your mindset to one of ease and flow. Replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. For example, instead of thinking, I have to work hard to manifest my desires, try thinking, I allow my desires to come to me effortlessly. This subtle shift in language and mindset can make a world of difference. Another powerful practice is visualization. Visualize yourself already living your desired reality. Feel the emotions, the joy and the satisfaction of having what you want. The more vividly you can imagine it, the more real it becomes in your mind, and the easier it becomes to manifest it into your reality. The universe mirrors your beliefs and emotions. If you believe it's already yours, the universe will align to make that your reality. But if you hold on to doubts or fears, you'll manifest those instead. So, choose to believe in the ease and abundance of the universe. Here are some practical techniques for effortless manifestation that you can incorporate into your daily life. Meditation and mindfulness. Take time each day to quiet your mind and connect with your inner self. Meditation helps you release resistance and align with the flow of the universe. In this state of calm, you become a magnet for your desires. Scripting. Write about your desires as if they've already happened. Describe in detail how your life looks, feels, and what you're experiencing. This practice helps solidify the belief that it's already yours. Gratitude. Cultivate an attitude of gratitude. By appreciating what you already have, you attract more of it into your life. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance, making manifestation effortless. Letting go. Release the need to control how and when your desires will manifest. Trust that the universe knows the perfect timing. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means surrendering to the flow and trusting the process. Affirmations. Use positive affirmations to reprogram your subconscious mind. Affirmations like "I am a powerful creator. Everything I desire flows to me effortlessly, and I am worthy of all the good things." Reinforce your belief in effortless manifestation. These techniques, when practiced consistently, will help you align with the effortless flow of the universe. Remember, it's not about doing more, it's about aligning more. The more you align, the less effort you need to manifest your desires. Remember that manifestation isn't about trying harder, it's about trusting deeper. It's about knowing that your desires are already yours and allowing them to manifest in their own perfect time. Let's end with some powerful affirmations. I trust the universe to bring my desires to me effortlessly. I am aligned with the flow of abundance and prosperity. Everything I desire is already mine, and I am grateful for it. I let go of all resistance and allow my desires to manifest easily. I am a powerful creator, and I attract all that I need effortlessly. And that's it for the day. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to share your thoughts and insights in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it already. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video.
What I'm about to share with you is so simple, it feels wrong. It's so effortless that your mind will rebel against it. Because everything you've been taught about manifestation, all the hard work, the visualizing, the endless affirmations, has been keeping your dreams trapped in an endless loop of almost but not quite. The real breakthrough happens when you do the complete opposite, and it's ridiculously easy. Comment below, "I'm ready," if you're tired of chasing your dreams and ready to become the person who already has them. Because what I'm about to share will flip your entire understanding of reality upside down. Everyone teaches you manifestation forward. Visualize, attract, and achieve. Quantum manifestation flips that completely upside down. You don't manifest from desire. You manifest from outcome. Here's how to do it backwards, and watch miracles unfold. You've probably been told countless times. Clearly visualize your goals. See every detail. Feel the emotions as if you already have it. You've heard this advice from countless coaches, teachers, and books. Maybe you've spent hours each day imagining your dream life, picturing your dream job, your ideal partner, financial abundance, or vibrant health. You've likely closed your eyes, repeated affirmations, and tried your hardest to maintain positive feelings. And yet, something still feels off. It seems just out of reach, like you're constantly grasping at shadows. When you visualize something as a future goal, you reinforce the gap between yourself and what you desire. Think about that for a second. Every time you try harder to feel abundant or loved or successful, if deep down you still perceive it as something in the future, you're energetically broadcasting the exact opposite of what you want. You are inadvertently reinforcing your lack, and the quantum field, being a mirror of your dominant frequency, reflects back exactly that: more distance, more waiting, more frustration. This is where quantum manifestation turns the whole process upside down, and why it's infinitely more powerful. And if you think you know where this is going, think again. Quantum manifestation doesn't ask you to pretend something is already true in some vague future. Instead, it starts by placing you directly inside the outcome right here and now. It asks you to shift your state from wanting to already having, to think, feel, and act from the outcome rather than toward it. And here's the crucial distinction. It's not about imagining a future result. It's about experiencing the end state now. Quantum manifestation doesn't operate linearly. It operates backward from the end to the beginning. To make this clearer, Let's use an analogy that will blow your mind. Imagine you're watching a movie, but instead of watching it from start to finish, you begin at the final scene. You see the resolution, the happiness, the clarity. With that knowledge of the outcome, every event leading up to it takes on a different meaning. You don't doubt how things will resolve. You don't question whether the hero will succeed. You already know the ending. Quantum manifestation works exactly the same way. When you start from the outcome, you experience a profound shift in your energetic frequency. Anxiety and urgency dissolve. Doubt fades. Why? Because there's no longer a question of whether something will happen. You're experiencing it as already done. And here's where it gets scientifically fascinating. Quantum physics backs this up. Experiments like the double-slit experiment and studies on retrocausality show us clearly that at the quantum level, past, present, and future are not separate. They coexist as possibilities, and your observation, your state of being, collapses them into reality. The moment you consciously choose to embody your future outcome, you collapse all other possibilities and anchor your desired timeline into your present experience. The quantum field responds to who you are being, not what you want to become. Think of it this way. Desire implies distance. Outcome implies presence. Desire says, I don't have it yet. Outcome says, it's already mine. Desire keeps you in a state of reaching and longing. Outcome puts you in a state of receiving and gratitude. From the quantum perspective, the universe never delivers what you desire, only what you embody. And the strongest way to embody something is to start living from it now, not waiting for external proof. So how do you practically apply this? The answer might surprise you. The key is to stop visualizing your outcome from the outside and instead embody it from the inside. Instead of imagining what it would feel like to get what you want, ask yourself, if this were already true, what thoughts would I think right now? What actions would feel natural and easy? How would my energy shift? Immediately, your internal state adjusts. Your nervous system relaxes. Your perception changes. Your emotional field stabilizes. And perhaps most importantly, your quantum broadcast transforms. You are no longer signaling lack. You're signaling coherence and completeness. You're not chasing. You're aligning. The irony here, and it's a beautiful irony, is that the moment you stop needing your desire to show up, it does. When you become indifferent to the timing, because you're so immersed in the feeling of already having it, manifestation accelerates exponentially. The quantum field doesn't require effort. It requires congruence. The secret lies not in wanting something badly enough, but in no longer needing it because you're fully occupying the emotional, mental, and energetic space of already having it. This is why quantum manifestation is so powerful and yet so misunderstood. But wait until you hear what separates the effortless manifestors from everyone else. It's backward from everything we've been taught about achieving our dreams. But the moment you get it, the moment you embody it, you realize it's not complicated at all. It's elegant, it's precise, and it's profoundly transformative. Stay with me, because in just a moment, you'll discover exactly how to step into that reversed flow of manifestation, living from the outcome first. And once you do, you'll never want to manifest any other way again. You see, when you use traditional manifestation techniques, you're often instructed to affirm things like, I want abundance, I want success, I want the perfect relationship. Sounds innocent enough, right? But let's take a closer look at the hidden message this sends to the quantum field. Each time you say, I want, you unconsciously affirm a reality in which the thing you desire is missing. You're broadcasting lack. You're energetically confirming to the universe again and again, I don't have it yet. But here's the beautiful paradox that quantum manifestation reveals. The universe is not responding to what you want. It's responding to what you are. If your dominant emotional state is wanting, the quantum field has no choice but to mirror that exact state back to you. It matches your vibration with impeccable accuracy. So if you constantly signal wanting, the universe confirms this state by providing you more situations where you're left wanting, where fulfillment remains just out of reach. Now consider the opposite approach. And this is where everything changes. Imagine shifting your focus entirely from what you lack to what already exists in the quantum field. Because here's the profound truth. Science now fully supports every reality, every outcome, every dream you could possibly imagine is already encoded as a potential within the quantum field. You're not inventing or creating it from scratch. You're simply aligning with a reality that already exists as a possibility. Let's visualize this with a simple yet profound metaphor that will change how you see everything. Think of the quantum field as an enormous cosmic library. Every single possible version of your life already exists as a complete book on the shelves. You don't need to write the book from page 1. All you need to do is pick the book off the shelf, open it, and start reading, experiencing it fully, feeling it, believing it's real right now. This small yet vital shift in perspective is the difference between years of fruitless effort and instant energetic coherence. When you begin manifesting backward by assuming the outcome already exists, you step into a new energetic frequency. Instead of communicating "I lack," you broadcast "I have." And the quantum field, true to its nature, immediately reflects back that state of being. It's not magic. It's not wishful thinking. It's quantum physics at work. It's a scientifically validated reality. What you hold energetically, you receive experientially. Think about it this way. Manifestation isn't about convincing the universe or earning your desires through effort. It's about recognizing that reality itself is malleable, responsive, and waiting for you to choose your state consciously. The people who manifest effortlessly understand this. They don't chase their desires. They choose their outcomes. They embody the version of themselves that already has what they want. And by doing so, they collapse the quantum wave of possibility into a concrete, tangible reality. This is precisely why effortless manifestors always appear calm, relaxed, and confident. They don't push or force outcomes, because they've internalized one simple truth. Forcing implies doubt. Doubt is resistance, and resistance delays manifestation. True quantum manifestors never try to make things happen. They simply align with the version of themselves where the outcome is inevitable and watch as the universe effortlessly rearranges itself around their coherence. Let this sink in deeply. Your manifestation ability doesn't hinge on your willpower, your hustle, or how clearly you visualize. It depends entirely on your internal alignment with the end state you desire. It relies solely on your ability to stop reinforcing lack and instead stabilize your energy in the vibration of completion. Because when you genuinely assume the outcome, when your emotional state fully matches your chosen reality, the universe has absolutely no choice but to mirror it back. This realization can change your life forever. It means you can finally stop chasing dreams from a place of anxiety, urgency, or desperation. It means you no longer have to struggle to prove your worthiness or push harder to force outcomes. Instead, you get to choose your outcomes, stabilize your alignment, and watch miracles flow effortlessly into your life. And as profound as this understanding is, it's just the beginning. Because next, we're going to dive even deeper into exactly how to shift your identity, your very state of being, so that manifestation becomes as effortless as breathing. You'll see why changing who you're being is infinitely more powerful than changing what you're doing. Ready for the next leap? Let's keep going. First, let's pause for a moment and go deeper into the science behind why backward manifestation isn't just a spiritual concept. It's a quantum reality backed by physics. This isn't merely theory or wishful thinking. It's rooted deeply in the fundamental mechanics of the universe itself. At the quantum level, all potential realities coexist simultaneously. Every version of your life, from the most ordinary to the most extraordinary, already exists as possibilities in the quantum field. You're not creating your future from nothing. You're simply selecting which reality you wish to experience. This subtle yet profound truth can forever change your approach to life. It means you don't have to struggle or strain to bring something into being. Your primary task is much simpler and infinitely more elegant. Align yourself with the reality you desire, and then allow it to unfold naturally. Here's the difference. traditional, forward-thinking manifestation approaches encourage you to build from scratch, like constructing a building brick by brick. You visualize the goal, make plans, and push forward step by step. While there's nothing inherently wrong with effort, this linear method often reinforces the notion that your desires exist somewhere in the distant future, just out of reach. Energetically, this perpetuates a gap, reinforcing a sense of not yet having. Quantum manifestation reverses this completely. Instead of pushing reality into existence, you become the gravitational center that effortlessly pulls the desired reality toward you. You aren't chasing after an outcome. You're magnetizing a timeline that already exists. This subtle yet pivotal shift is the difference between years of frustrated effort and instant, easeful manifestation. Because in quantum physics, everything boils down to resonance. If your energy consistently broadcasts "not here yet," the field reflects delay. But if you vibrate with certainty, gratitude, and fulfillment, as if your desire is already here, the field has no choice but to match that frequency and collapse reality accordingly. This phenomenon is beautifully illustrated by the well-known quantum principle known as the observer effect. Experiments in quantum physics have shown repeatedly that subatomic particles exist as waves of possibility, probabilities, until they're observed or measured. Only at that moment do these waves collapse into specific, measurable particles. You, as the conscious observer, are performing this exact process continually in your daily life. Your dominant emotional state and focused attention are literally collapsing infinite possibilities into a singular, tangible experience. If you consistently observe from a place of absence or lack, you collapse realities that confirm that absence. However, if you observe from a state of fulfillment, gratitude, and certainty, the quantum field collapses possibilities that confirm your state of having. This is exactly why people who master quantum manifestation often seem effortlessly magnetic. They don't chase after anything. Rather, they anchor into the energetic truth that the reality they desire is already theirs. It's not magic. It's quantum mechanics at play. Every moment, your frequency is selecting potential outcomes from an infinite field. What changes your reality isn't endless effort, but coherence of thought and emotion, alignment, embodiment. Consider this carefully. Your life right now, every circumstance you currently experience, is an accurate reflection of your dominant internal state. The quantum field is impartial and precise. It doesn't judge your wishes as good or bad. It simply mirrors back your consistent emotional frequency. So if you want different external results, your task isn't to strive harder outwardly. It's to shift your inner energetic coherence to reflect your chosen reality as already done. It's a quantum shortcut, collapsing timelines instantly. Think of this process like tuning a radio dial. The station, your desired outcome, already exists. You don't need to create the broadcast. You simply adjust your frequency until your energy matches the signal you want. When you do, the music flows effortlessly. The reception becomes clear, and your life begins to reflect exactly the channel you've tuned into. It's not an act of creation. It's an act of alignment. This understanding fundamentally changes your relationship with manifestation. It frees you from the illusion that you must earn your desires through struggle. It liberates you from the myth that goals must be pursued with relentless urgency. Instead, it places you firmly in your true power, the power of conscious, coherent observation. When you realize your role isn't to force the universe to respond, but rather to clearly, consistently align with the reality you've chosen, the shift is instantaneous. This truth, however, is something most people resist at first, because it defies conventional logic. Our entire society is built on the belief that effort equals reward. The quantum reality, however, insists otherwise. Effortless coherence equals resonance, and resonance equals manifestation. The quantum field doesn't respond to effort. It responds to vibration. Right now, you might be thinking, okay, this makes sense, but how do I actually do it? What does quantum manifestation look like in my everyday life? Excellent question. Let's walk through it step by step, making it so practical, so clear, and so simple that you can start seeing shifts immediately, without confusion, effort, or guesswork. The quantum manifestation process can be summarized in 3 clear and powerful steps. Let's unpack each one together, and by the end, you'll have everything you need to transform your reality. Step 1. Clearly choose your desired reality, but as if it already exists. This is the vital foundation, and most people stumble here by visualizing their desires as future scenarios. Instead, begin with absolute clarity on what you desire, not as a potential event, but as something already real, already achieved. Close your eyes and clearly define your desired outcome from the perspective of having already experienced it. If your goal is financial abundance, for example, don't visualize yourself becoming wealthy someday in the future. Imagine clearly the version of you who's already living in abundance right now. Picture the scenes vividly. Feel the satisfaction. Notice the confidence, the ease, the joy of living from abundance already realized. You're not manifesting from a what-if place. You're manifesting from it's already mine. This is the first crucial shift. Step 2. Completely identify with this reality. Here's where it gets profoundly transformative. Shift from wanting to embodying. Instead of saying, I want to be wealthy, internally affirm, I am already wealthy. Don't merely say the words. Feel them resonate deeply in your body. Notice how your posture changes, how your breathing shifts, how tension releases as you accept this reality completely. It's not about pretending or tricking yourself. It's about anchoring yourself in the emotional and energetic truth of that reality. Your body should feel it clearly. The neural pathways in your brain begin to reorganize around this new identity. Your nervous system relaxes into this frequency. You're no longer signaling uncertainty or lack. You're broadcasting the resonance of fulfillment, confidence, and gratitude. Exactly the signals the quantum field responds to most powerfully. Take a moment to do it right now. Choose one clear, specific reality. Feel it deeply. What emotions arise? Gratitude, relief, freedom, satisfaction? Identify these feelings clearly and allow yourself to dwell in them fully. Don't rush. This is where quantum reality is chosen. By embodying the emotional reality first, then watching as physical reality effortlessly aligns. Step 3. Release all control and allow the quantum field to respond. Now, here's the part many people find challenging, but it's also where the real magic happens. Completely let go of controlling how your desired outcome unfolds. Surrender your attachment to specific paths, methods, or timings. The quantum field works best when you leave the door open for infinite possibilities. The how isn't your job. It never was. Your job is solely to maintain coherence and alignment. The quantum field, infinitely intelligent and responsive, orchestrates all details effortlessly. Think of this like planting a seed. You don't dig up the seed every day to see how it's growing. You plant it, nurture the environment, and trust nature's intelligence to bring it into fruition. Your manifestation works exactly the same way. Trusting the field means embracing uncertainty with curiosity and openness instead of anxiety. When you release control, you stop energetically blocking outcomes with your limited expectations. Suddenly, you open the quantum space for synchronicities, unexpected solutions, surprising opportunities, and effortless miracles. Here's a practical daily exercise you can use immediately. Each morning before you get out of bed, clearly feel your chosen reality, not as future potential, but as present fact. Say internally, I'm already living my ideal reality. Feel it in your body. Imagine what your day would look like, what decisions you would naturally make, how interactions would unfold effortlessly if you were already that version of yourself. Do this for just a few minutes. Then release it entirely. Let go and trust completely. Throughout your day, whenever doubt arises, simply remind yourself gently, it's already done. You don't need to force the feeling again. Just briefly reconnect with certainty. Then move forward from a place of relaxed expectation, knowing it's unfolding perfectly. With practice, this state becomes your natural baseline. You become less reactive, more magnetic, and effortlessly aligned. Your reality begins reshaping itself around this state of coherence. Opportunities come to you. Relationships deepen effortlessly. Problems resolve spontaneously because you're no longer pushing from anxiety or desperation. Life mirrors back your relaxed trust. Does this sound revolutionary? It should, because it's radically different from everything you've been taught. Yet it's grounded entirely in quantum reality. Your life truly can become effortless when you understand that your role is simply coherence and surrender. Quantum manifestation is about getting out of your own way and letting infinite intelligence handle the details. So let's ground that shift together right now. Take a moment to comment below. I am ready to manifest backwards. Don't just write it as a formality. Feel it as a declaration. When you type those words and press send, you're sending a vibrational signal to the field that you are ready. You are no longer trapped in the loop of desire. You are stepping into the reality where you are already the version of yourself who receives. This simple act carries more power than you imagine because it comes from coherence, from embodiment, not from need or lack. You didn't land on this video by accident. You were guided here, not by coincidence, but by frequency, a signal from the quantum field that matched a part of you ready to remember. Because deep down, you know manifestation isn't about striving harder. It's about aligning deeper. True quantum manifestation begins when you stop chasing what you want and start embodying the version of you that already lives it. It's not a theory. It's a shift in state. And the moment you invert the manifestation flow, no longer desiring but becoming, the universe shifts its response. You're no longer requesting. You're collapsing timelines. The quantum field does not respond to pressure, effort, or urgency. It responds to coherence. And now you've seen how simple and powerful it is. The more you embody the version of yourself who already has, the faster the quantum responds. That's the real spiritual work. Not in doing more, but in being more aligned. Your dream future isn't something far away. It already exists in the field, and you just tuned into it.
Good evening, my friends. Tonight I want to share with you something that most teachers of this law will never tell you. Not because they wish to withhold it from you, but because they themselves have not discovered it. It is a technique so simple, so profound, so radically different from everything you have been taught, that when you truly grasp it, you will never approach manifestation the same way again. You see, for years, I have taught you about living in the end. I have told you to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to sleep in the state of your desire realized. And this is true. This is the foundation. This works. But tonight I want to reveal to you something that goes even deeper. Something that penetrates consciousness in a way that future imagining cannot. I call it the technique of the thankful past. Let me show you what most of you are doing wrong. Even when you think you are doing everything right. When you desire something, where do you place it in your mind? You project it into the future. When I have money, I will be happy. When I meet my love, I will be fulfilled. When my business succeeds, I will be grateful. When my body heals, I will be at peace. You see what you are doing? You see the trap you have fallen into? You are perpetually pushing your desire away from you. You are placing it in a time that never comes. Tomorrow never arrives, my friends. Tomorrow is always one day away. There is only ever now, only this eternal present moment. And yet you keep throwing your desires into an imaginary future. And then you wonder why they never manifest. They never manifest because you have placed them in a dimension that does not exist. The future is not real. It is a concept, a mental construct, a phantom. Only now is real. Only now has creative power. But here is what they do not want you to know. Here is the secret that will transform everything. Here is the key that unlocks a door most people do not even know exists. Your imagination responds most powerfully not to future desire, but to past fulfillment. Let me say that again, because this is the hinge upon which everything turns. Your subconscious mind, which is God in you, which is the creative power that produces your world, responds with magnificent, overwhelming, irresistible power when you remember your desire as something that has already happened. Think about this carefully. When you imagine something in the future, What is present in your consciousness? There is always a subtle tension. There is waiting. There is hoping. There is trying. There is the gap between here and there, between now and then, between who you are and who you will be. There is separation. There is time. There is distance. But when you remember something from the past, everything changes. When you recall a memory, there is a certainty, a completeness, a naturalness that requires no effort at all. There is no trying. There is no hoping. There is no waiting. It simply is. It is done. It is finished. It is behind you. Think about your most cherished memory right now. Perhaps a moment of joy from your childhood. Perhaps a triumph you experienced years ago. Perhaps a moment of love that is now gone but lives forever in your heart. When you recall it, do you have to try to believe it happened? Do you have to convince yourself it was real? Do you have to work to feel it? Of course not. It carries its own authority. It is simply done, complete, unquestionable. This is the secret, and it is so simple that the complicated mind dismisses it. This is what I want you to understand tonight. Imagine your desire not as something that will be, but as something that was. Let me take you deeper into why this works, into the mechanics of consciousness that make this technique so extraordinarily powerful. Your subconscious mind, which is the creator of your reality, does not think in future tense. It does not respond to I will be, or I am going to, or someday I shall. These are the languages of doubt, of separation, of powerlessness. These are the words of someone who does not have, who is waiting, who is hoping, but your subconscious responds instantly, completely, totally to I am, and even more powerfully to I was. Why? Because I am is present possession, and I was is completed action. Both are facts in consciousness. Both are declarations of what is, not what might be. When you say I will be wealthy, you are affirming that you are not wealthy now. When you say I am wealthy, you are claiming it in this moment. But when you say I became wealthy 3 months ago, you are doing something even more profound. You are placing your desire in the category of accomplished fact. You are remembering it. And memory is the most powerful form of imagination. Listen to me carefully. What is memory? Memory is imagination of the past. What is imagination? Imagination is memory of the future. They are the same faculty, the same power, operating in different directions in time. But here is the secret. The past feels more real than the future because it has the seal of completion upon it. Now let me give you the technique itself. The exact method you will use tonight and every night until your desire hardens into fact. Suppose you desire wealth. Most of you would imagine yourselves in the future, surrounded by abundance, and you would try to feel wealthy. And yes, this can work. I have taught this for years, and it works. But how much more powerful would it be to sit quietly tonight, close your eyes, and construct a memory, a false memory, if you will, of the day you became wealthy. Not tomorrow, not next week, not in some vague future, but that day in the past when it happened, the day that has already passed, the day you can remember. Imagine yourself 3 months ago, or 1 month ago, or even just 2 weeks ago. Whatever feels most natural to you, see yourself opening that letter, receiving that phone call, signing those documents, having that conversation, experiencing that moment when everything changed. Feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude, the shock, the excitement you felt on that day. Not tomorrow, that day that has already passed. That day that is now behind you, that day you can remember. Create the memory so vividly, so completely, so real that it feels as though it actually occurred. See the room you were in. Feel the temperature, hear the sounds. Notice what you were wearing. Who else was there? What time of day was it? Make it specific. Make it detailed. Make it real. Tell yourself and feel the truth of these words as you say them. I remember when it happened. I remember how surprised I was. I remember the moment I realized everything had changed. I remember calling my friend to share the news. I remember that feeling of relief, that sense of knowing I would never have to worry about this again. Do you see the difference now? Do you feel how different this is? You are not hoping it will happen. You are not even believing it is happening now. You are remembering that it happened, and memory carries a conviction that imagination of the future can rarely achieve. Now let me explain why this technique is so extraordinarily effective, why it penetrates consciousness in a way that nothing else quite does. When you create a memory of your wish fulfilled, when you remember backwards from the present moment to that imaginary point in the past, when your desire was realized, you do something magical, something mystical, something that changes the very structure of your consciousness. You collapse time itself. You see, when you imagine something in the future, you are placing it at a distance. There is space between you and it. There is time between you and it. You are here, it is there. And as long as there is distance, there is separation. And as long as there is separation, there is effort. And effort implies lack. But when you remember something, when you place it in the past, there is no distance. It is not separated from you by time. It is behind you. It is done. It is finished. You are standing in the present as one who has already received, one who has already experienced, one who has already been transformed by this event. Can you feel the difference? When your desire is in the future, you are waiting for it to arrive. But when your desire is in the past, it has already arrived. You are no longer waiting. You are no longer hoping. You are no longer striving. You are resting. You are grateful. You are complete. The universe, you see, and this may shock you, does not distinguish between a memory that occurred in what you call objective reality and a memory you have constructed in imagination. To your subconscious mind, to God in you, they are equally real. Both are imagined. Both are consciousness. Both are creative. Let me say something that may sound radical, but is absolutely true. Every reality you have ever experienced began as imagination. There is no difference, none whatsoever, between what you call real memories and imagined ones, except the order in which they occurred. What you imagine first becomes what you remember later. Think about that. Every memory you have of yesterday was once imagination. Before yesterday happened, it was imagination. Then it became experience. Then it became memory. But it was always imagination first. So why not reverse it? Why not remember first, and let the objective reality catch up with your memory? Why not imagine backwards instead of forwards? This is not deception, my friends. This is not fantasy or denial of reality. This is creation. This is how God creates. This is how you as God create. By imagining and declaring it is finished. Not it will be finished. Not it is being finished, but it is finished. Done, complete, already accomplished. Now let me give you the exact, specific, practical technique that you will use starting tonight. Before you sleep, choose your desire. It can be anything: wealth, love, health, success, reconciliation, healing, opportunity, anything at all. But choose one thing and be specific. Know exactly what you want. Now, instead of imagining it in the future, I want you to construct a scene that implies it has already happened. But here is the key. Place this scene in your recent past. Imagine yourself 1 week ago, or 1 month ago, or 3 months ago, whatever feels natural to you, whatever your mind can accept most easily, and see yourself in a moment that implies your wish has already been fulfilled. Perhaps you are talking to a friend on the phone and saying, "I am so grateful it worked out. I can hardly believe how perfectly it all came together. I was so worried, but now I see there was never anything to worry about." Or perhaps you are looking at your bank statement from last month and smiling at the balance, thinking, "I remember when I used to check this with fear. Now I check it with joy." Or perhaps you are lying in bed beside your beloved thinking, "I remember when I used to sleep alone. I remember how much I longed for this. That feels like another lifetime now." Or perhaps you are looking in the mirror, seeing your healthy body, thinking, "I remember the day I got the test results. I remember calling my mother to tell her. I remember how I cried with relief." Create this memory with all your senses. Make it detailed, vivid, real. See the scene. Hear the sounds. Feel the emotions. Smell the air. Taste the moment. Engage every sense. And here is the crucial part, the element that makes this technique transcend all others. Feel the relief of it being behind you. Feel the gratitude that it has already occurred. Feel the freedom of no longer needing to wait or hope or try because it is done, finished, complete. It is history. It is your past. This feeling, this sensation of relief, of completion, of grateful remembrance, this is what impresses your subconscious most deeply. This is what tells your creative power. This is real. This has happened. This is done. Now, I want to give you one more key. One more element that will make this technique even more powerful, even more penetrating, even more effective. Gratitude. But not the gratitude you think. Not the gratitude of someone who is hoping for something. Not the gratitude you practice to attract something. Not future gratitude. Past gratitude. When you remember your desire as already fulfilled, let gratitude fill your heart. But feel the specific quality of this gratitude. It is the gratitude of someone who has received. The gratitude of someone for whom the struggle is over. The gratitude of looking back at a problem that is now solved. A need that is now met, a desire that is now fulfilled. Say to yourself, and mean it, feel it. I am so grateful that happened when it did. The timing was perfect. I am so glad I do not have to worry about that anymore. I am so thankful it worked out exactly as it did. Do you hear the past tense in those words? Do you feel the completion? This is not I will be grateful when. This is not I am grateful in advance for. This is I am grateful that it happened. Past complete. Done. Gratitude in the past tense is one of the most powerful vibrations you can emit. It tells your subconscious mind with absolute clarity. This is done. This is complete. I have received. The matter is settled. And your faithful subconscious, which only knows to say yes to your assumptions, which only knows to create what you believe, will work day and night in ways you cannot imagine to make your outer world match your inner conviction. It will orchestrate circumstances. It will arrange events. It will bring people into your life. It will open doors you did not know existed. It will create opportunities that seem to come from nowhere. All to prove right what you have assumed. All to make objective what you have imagined. My friends, I want you to understand something at the deepest level. You are not manipulating some external force. You are not trying to convince a deity somewhere in the sky to grant you a favor. You are not begging. You are not bargaining. You are not trying to be good enough or worthy enough. You are God imagining. And God does not imagine in the future. God imagines, and it is. When God said, "Let there be light," did he mean let there be light tomorrow? Did he mean let there be light next week? Did he mean I hope there will be light someday? No. Let there be light means light exists now because it has been imagined. It is immediate. It is present. It is done. This is how you must imagine. Not as a human, hoping God will answer, but as God, knowing that what you imagine is. And here is the secret within the secret. When you remember something, when you place it in the past, you are assuming it even more powerfully than when you imagine it in the present, because the past is completed. The past is done. The past cannot be changed, you think. But you are wrong. The past can be changed in imagination. And when you change the past in imagination, you change everything. So tonight I invite you to stop. Stop projecting your desires into an endless tomorrow. Stop waiting for some future moment when you will finally be happy, finally be fulfilled, finally be free, finally have what you want. Instead, remember it. Remember the day it happened, how it felt. Remember the relief, the joy, the gratitude, the peace. Remember that you no longer have to wait because it is already done. Remember that you no longer have to hope because you have already received. Remember that you no longer have to try because it has already happened. You are not manifesting from the future backward. You are manifesting from the past forward. And in doing so, you eliminate the one thing that destroys more manifestations than anything else in the world. The feeling of waiting, of separation, of time standing between you and your desire. There is no time. This is the great secret. There is only now. And in the now, you can remember anything you choose. The past is as fluid as the future. Both are imagination, both are consciousness, both are creative. So choose to remember your desire fulfilled. Choose to remember it as something that already happened. Choose to place it behind you rather than in front of you. Choose to be grateful for what has already occurred, rather than hopeful for what might occur. This is not a trick. This is not a technique in the ordinary sense. This is a shift in consciousness. This is a transformation in how you relate to time itself. This is stepping into the eternal now where all things already are. Go now and test this. Tonight before sleep, construct your memory. Make it vivid. Make it real. Make it detailed. Feel it. Return to it daily. Elaborate it. Live in it. And in a very short time, perhaps shorter than you imagine, perhaps shorter than seems possible, you will find that what you remembered in imagination has become what you remember in fact. The memory you created will have created the experience. The past you imagined will have become the past you lived. And you will stand in wonder knowing that you have discovered one of the deepest secrets of creation. This is the law. This is the promise. And it cannot fail. It has never failed. It will never fail, because it is not dependent on anything outside of you. It is dependent only on your imagination. And your imagination is God. And God cannot fail. Remember your wish fulfilled. Do this and all else will follow. Thank you and good evening. As always, thank you for joining me on this journey into the depths of consciousness. Remember, you are not here by accident. You are here because your soul is ready for this truth. Take these teachings and let them transform not just your mind, but your entire reality. Until we meet again in consciousness, keep assuming your greatness and living from the end of your desires. This is Best of Lectures, and I will see you in the next video.
You may wonder, what does it mean to do it alone? Is it a call to isolation? A rejection of the world around us? No, my beloved, it is quite the opposite. To do it alone is to recognize the divinity within you, to understand that you are the operant power in your world, and that all creation begins in the sanctum of your own mind. Consider for a moment the great masters throughout history. Did they not retreat into solitude to commune with the infinite? Did not prophets venture into the wilderness to receive their revelations? This, my friends, is the essence of doing it alone, not in physical isolation, but in the realization that you and you alone are the author of your life story. When I say do it alone, I speak of the inner work, the labor of consciousness that no one else can perform for you. It is the intimate dance between your imagination and the infinite possibilities that lie dormant within you. This dance, this sacred communion, can only be experienced in the privacy of your own being. Think of it this way. When you enter a dream at night, do you bring others with you? No, you enter that realm alone. And in that state, you are the creator, the director, and the star of your nocturnal adventures. Your waking life, I assure you, is no different. You are dreaming it into existence with every thought, every assumption, every inner conversation. But some of you might protest, surely we need others in our lives. Surely we cannot exist in isolation. And to this I say, of course. The outer world, the people in your life, they are all vital and beautiful parts of your experience. But understand this, they are not the cause of your experience. They are the effect. They are the reflections of your inner state, the manifestations of your consciousness. When you truly grasp this, when you internalize the knowledge that you are the efferent power, you will see that all the help you need, all the love you seek, all the success you desire, it all begins within you. You do not need to manipulate others or beg the world for favors. You need only to adjust your inner state, to align your consciousness with your desires, and the outer world will rearrange itself to match your envision. This, my dear friends, is the true meaning of doing it alone. It is the recognition that you are not a mere fragment in a vast, uncaring universe. but that you are the universe itself, focused into this particular point of time and space. You are God in distribution, experiencing yourself through the vessel of your human form. Now let us explore how this principle applies to your daily life. Imagine you desire a new job, a position that fills you with excitement and purpose. The common approach would be to scour job listings, to network feverishly, to plead your case to potential employers. And while these outer actions may have their place, they are not the source of your success. Instead, I urge you to do it alone. Retreat into the theater of your mind. There, in that sacred space, see yourself already occupying that position. Feel the satisfaction of doing work that inspires you. Hear the congratulations of your colleagues. Experience the pride of your loved ones. Make this inner experience so vivid, so real, that when you open your eyes, you will be surprised to find yourself still in your current circumstances. This, my friends, is the art of assumption. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you live from the end as if it were already a reality, you set in motion forces beyond your conscious understanding. The entire universe conspires to bring about the conditions that match your inner state. But remember, this is not mere positive thinking or idle daydreaming. This is a fundamental shift in your concept of self. You are not trying to change things. You are changing the thinker. You are revising your own identity to match your desire. Let me share with you a profound truth. The outer world is dead. Yes, you heard me correctly. The world you perceive with your senses is but a shadow, a reflection of past thoughts and assumptions. It has no power to create, no ability to cause. It can only reflect what you hold in your consciousness. This may seem a stark statement, perhaps even a disturbing one, but I assure you it is the key to your freedom. For if the outer world is dead, if it has no power to create or cause, then you are liberated from its seeming constraints. You are free to create anew, to assume a new state of consciousness, and to watch as the outer world reshapes itself to match your inner vision. This is why I implore you to do it alone. For in the solitude of your consciousness, in the privacy of your imagination, you hold the power to reshape your entire existence. No one else can do this for you. No external force can grant you this power. It is your birthright, your inherent nature as a creative being. Consider the great inventors and innovators throughout history. Did they not first conceive their creations in the solitude of their minds? Did not every great work of art, every scientific breakthrough, every technological marvel first exist as a seed in someone's imagination? These individuals understood, perhaps intuitively, the power of doing it alone. But let us be clear, doing it alone does not mean you must physically isolate yourself from others. It does not mean you should reject help or collaboration when it presents itself. Rather, it means that you recognize that the primary creative act occurs within you. The outer actions, the physical steps you take, are simply the outward expression of an inner conviction. Think of it this way. When you plant a seed in the ground, do you dig it up every day to check its progress? Do you attempt to force the sprout to emerge, to manipulate the leaves into unfurling? Of course not. You plant the seed, you provide the proper conditions, and then you allow the innate intelligence within that seed to do its work. Your desires, your goals, your aspirations. These are seeds you plant in the fertile soil of your consciousness. Your task is not to force them into manifestation through sheer will or endless action. Your task is to plant them properly, to nurture them with your assumption of their fulfillment, and then to allow them to grow and manifest in their own divine timing. This is the art of doing it alone. It is the recognition that you are the gardener of your own mind, the cultivator of our own reality. No one else can plant these seeds for you. No one else can assume the ceiling of their fulfillment on your behalf. This is your sacred duty, your divine right, and your ultimate power. Now, some of you may be thinking, what about the challenges I face? What about the obstacles in my path to this? I say these challenges, these obstacles, they are not what you think they are. They are not external forces conspiring against you. They are not proof of your limitations or your unworthiness. No, my dear friends, these challenges are invitations. They are calls to go deeper into yourself, to strengthen your conviction, to purify assumption. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to do it alone, to retreat into the workroom of your imagination, and to revise your concept of self. Remember, the outer world can only reflect what you hold in consciousness. If you accept the obstacle as real, if you allow it to shake your conviction, then you give it power over you. But if you recognize it for what it truly is, a shadow, a reflection of past thoughts, then you can dissolve it in the light of your new assumption. This is why I often speak of revision. When you face a challenge or encounter an undesirable circumstance, do not accept it as final. Do not allow it to define your reality. Instead, in the privacy of your imagination, revise the event. See it unfolding as you would have preferred. Feel the relief, the joy, the satisfaction of this revised version. You might ask, but how can I revise something that has already happened? And to this, I say time is an illusion. The past, present, and future exist simultaneously in the eternal now of your consciousness. When you revise an event in your imagination, you are not changing the past in a linear sense. You are selecting a different version of events from the infinite possibilities that exist in the dimension of consciousness. This is the power of doing it alone. In the solitude of your mind, you can revise any event, reshape any circumstance, and redefine any aspect of your life. The outer world, bound as it is to reflect your inner state, must then rearrange itself to match your new assumption. But let us delve even deeper into this concept of doing it alone. It is not merely about manifesting specific desires or revising unwanted events. It is about a fundamental shift in your understanding of who and what you are. You see, when I speak of doing it alone, I am pointing you towards the realization of your true identity. You are not the limited mortal creature you appear to be. You are not defined by your circumstances, your past, or the opinions of others. You are, in truth, the very essence of creation itself, temporarily focused into this particular point of view. This is why no one else can do it for you. This is why all the self-help books, all the motivational seminars, all the well-meaning advice from friends and family are potentially useful, can never be the source of your transformation. They can point the way, they can offer techniques and insights, but the actual work, the sacred labor of consciousness, can only be done by you alone. Now, let us consider how this principle of doing it alone applies to your relationships with others. Some of you might worry that this teaching promotes selfishness or isolation. Nothing could be further from the truth. When you learn to do it alone, when you recognize your own divine nature, you become capable of truly loving others. You see, most human relationships are based on need, on the belief that we are incomplete without the other. We seek in others what we believe we lack in ourselves. But when you know that you are complete, that you contain within yourself the fullness of being, then your relationships transform. You no longer approach others from a place of lack or need, but from a place of love. This is the paradox of doing it alone. It enables you to connect more deeply with others. For when you no longer need others to complete you, you can appreciate them for who they truly are. You can love them freely without conditions or expectations. You can allow them to be themselves without trying to change them to fit your needs. Consider the sun. Does it shine only on those it deems worthy? Does it withhold its light from those it judges undeserving? No, it shines on all equally, giving of itself freely and abundantly. This is how you will relate to others when you master the art of doing it alone. You will be like the sun, radiating love and creativity, not because you need anything in return, but because it is your nature to do so. But to reach this state, you must first do the inner work alone. You must confront your own shadows, face your own fears, and dissolve your own limiting beliefs. This is not always easy. It requires courage, persistence, and faith. But I assure you, my dear friends, the rewards are beyond anything you can imagine. For when you learn to do it alone, you discover that you are never truly alone. You realize that you are one with the creative power of the universe. You understand that all things are possible to you, for you are the very substance from which all things are formed. This is why I often speak of the state of wish fulfilled. When you enter into the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you live from the end as if your desire were already a reality, you are doing it alone, in the true sense. You are not waiting for external circumstances to change. You are not dependent on the actions or approval of others. You are creating from within, shaping your reality through the power of your assumption. But remember, this is not about forcing or struggling. It is not about willpower in the conventional sense. It is about aligning yourself with the natural creative process of the universe. Just as a seed does not stray to become a tree, you do not need to stray to manifest your desires. You need only to assume the right state of consciousness, to feel the naturalness of your wish fulfilled, and then to allow the outer world to reshape itself accordingly. This allowing, this trust in the process, is itself a form of doing it alone, for it requires you to release your attachment to external results, to let go of your need to control the how and when of your manifestation. It asks you to have faith in your own creative power, to trust in the wisdom of your own being. Think of a great artist at work. When they stand before a blank canvas, do they doubt their ability to create? Do they worry about where the paint will come from, or how the brushes will move? No, they simply begin allowing the creative impulse to flow through them. They trust in their own artistic vision, in their own creative power. You, my dear friend, are the artist of your own life. Your consciousness is the canvas, your imagination the brush, and your assumptions the paint. And like the artist, you must trust in your own creative power. You must have faith in your ability to shape your reality. This faith, this trust, is the essence of doing it alone. It is the recognition that all the power you need is already within you. It is the understanding that you are not separate from the creative force of the universe, but are that very force itself, focused into this particular point of view. Now, let us address a question that may arise in your minds. Some of you might be thinking, but if I am doing it alone, if I am the creator of my reality, why do I sometimes experience unwanted circumstances? Why do I face challenges and difficulties? This is a profound question, and it strikes at the heart of our discussion. The answer lies in understanding the nature of consciousness and the process of creation. You see, your outer world is not created by your conscious thoughts alone. It is shaped by the totality of your consciousness, including your deepest beliefs, your habitual thoughts, and even the aspects of yourself that you may not be consciously aware of. When you experience unwanted circumstances, it is not a failure of your creative power. It is simply a reflection of some aspect of your consciousness that you may not have fully recognized or addressed. This is why doing it alone is so crucial. It requires you to delve deep into your own being, to confront and transform the hidden beliefs and assumptions that may be shaping your reality in ways you don't consciously intend. Consider for a moment the concept of self-talk, the inner conversations you have with yourself throughout the day. These conversations, often occurring below the level of conscious awareness, are powerful creative forces. They are, in essence, the way you do it alone all the time, whether you realize it or not. If your inner conversations are filled with doubt, fear, or limitation, then these states will be reflected in your outer experience. But the wonderful news is that you have the power to change these conversations. You can consciously choose new thoughts, new assumptions, new inner dialogues that align with your desires. This is not about forced positive thinking or denying the reality of your current circumstances. It is about recognizing that your inner world is the true creative realm, and that by changing your inner conversations, you inevitably change your outer world. Let me share with you a technique that I have found particularly powerful in this regard. I call it eavesdropping on your future self. Here's how it works. Imagine yourself in the future, having already achieved your desire. Listen carefully to the conversations you would be having in that state. What would you be saying to yourself? What would others be saying to you? Now, bring those conversations into your present. Begin to speak to yourself as if your desire were already fulfilled. Have imaginary conversations with others where they congratulate you on your success. Feel the naturalness of these conversations, the ease with which they flow. This technique is a powerful way of doing it alone. It allows you to align your inner world with the reality you wish to create, regardless of your current circumstances. And as you persist in these new inner conversations, you will find your outer world beginning to shift and change to match your world. But remember, my dear friends, this is not about escaping reality or living in a fantasy world. It is about recognizing the true nature of reality itself. What you perceive as the real world is simply the outpicturing of consciousness. By changing your consciousness, you literally change your world. You must understand that every imagined scenario exists as a reality in the dimension of consciousness. When you imagine yourself in a desired state, you are not creating something new. You are tuning into an already existing reality, a version of yourself that already possesses what you desire. Your task then is not to create this reality, but to align yourself with it. This alignment happens within you, in the privacy of your own consciousness. It is a solitary act, a sacred communion between you and the infinite possibilities that exist within you. This is the deepest meaning of doing it alone. It is the recognition that you are the operant power in your world, that you are the one who selects and animates the particular version of reality you experience. No one else can do this for you. No external power can grant you this ability. It is your inherent nature, your divine birthright. But let us be clear. Doing it alone does not mean you must struggle or strain. It does not mean you must cut yourself off from others or reject help when it is offered. Rather, it means recognizing that the primary creative act occurs within you, in the realm of your imagination and assumption. Think of it this way when you go to sleep at night. Do you worry about how your heart will continue to beat, how your lungs will continue to breathe? Of course not. You trust in the innate wisdom of your body to carry out these functions without your conscious control. In the same way, when you plant a seed in your consciousness, through imagination and assumption, you can trust in the innate creative power of your being to bring it to fruition. Your role is to plant the seed, to nurture it with your faith and expectancy, and then to allow it to grow and manifest in its own divine timing. This allowing, this trust, is itself a form of doing it alone. It requires you to release your attachment to external results, to let go of your need to control every aspect of the manifestation process. It asks you to have faith in your own creative power, to trust in the wisdom of your own being. Now, some of you may be wondering, but what about action? Don't we need to take action in the world to achieve our goals? This is an excellent question, and it brings us to a crucial point in our discussion. Action is indeed important, but not in the way most people think. You see, inspired action flows naturally from a changed state of consciousness. When you have truly assumed the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you are living from the end, the appropriate actions will arise spontaneously. You will find yourself naturally doing the things that lead to the manifestation of your desire. This is very different from the common approach of trying to force results through sheer willpower or endless activity. Such forced action often comes from a place of lack or fear, and it rarely leads to lasting fulfillment. Instead, when you do it alone, when you change your state of consciousness first, your actions become effortless expressions of your new state of being. Consider the example of learning a new skill, like playing a musical instrument. At first, your actions may feel forced and unnatural. You have to consciously think about every movement, every note. But as you practice, as you begin to embody the state of being a musician, your actions become more fluid, more natural. You no longer have to think about every little movement. The music simply flows through you. This is how manifestation works when you truly understand the principle of doing it alone. You don't force the outer actions. You change your inner state, and the appropriate actions flow naturally from that state. But there's an even deeper truth here, my dear friends. As you advance in your understanding and application of these principles, you may find that less and less outer action is required. For when you are truly aligned with your desire and consciousness, the entire universe moves to bring about its manifestation. This is what I mean when I say that creation is finished. All possible states, all possible versions of reality already exist in the dimension of consciousness. Your task is not to create these realities, but to select and animate the one you desire through your assumption and feeling. This selection, this animation happens within you. It is a solitary act, a sacred communion between you and the infinite possibilities that exist within you. This is why no one else can do it for you. This is why you must do it alone. But remember, doing it alone does not mean you are separate or isolated from the world around you. Quite the opposite. When you master the art of doing it alone, you realize your oneness with all of creation. You understand that the entire universe is yourself pushed out, that every person in every circumstance in your life is a reflection of your own consciousness. This realization is profoundly liberating, for it means that you are not at the mercy of external circumstances. You are not a victim of fate or chance. You are the author of your own story, the creator of your own reality. But let us delve even deeper into this concept. When I say do it alone, I am not just referring to the manifestation of specific desires or the achievement of particular goals. I am pointing you towards a fundamental shift in your understanding of who and what you are. You see, my beloved, you are not the limited mortal creature you appear to be. You are not defined by your body, your circumstances, or your personal history. These are but costumes you wear, roles you play in the grand drama of existence. Your true identity is far greater, far more magnificent than you can possibly imagine. You are in essence the very consciousness from which all things arise. You are the dreamer of this dream we call life. When you truly grasp this, When you fully embody this truth, the idea of doing it alone takes on a whole new meaning. For you realize that there is no other to rely on, no external source of power or wisdom to appeal to. You are it. You are all there is. This realization can be both exhilarating and terrifying. It means that you are fully responsible for your experience of life. It means that you can no longer blame others or circumstances for your situation. But it also means that you have the power to change anything and everything in your life. Consider for a moment the implications of this truth. If you are the dreamer of your life, then everything and everyone in your experience is a reflection of your own consciousness. The people you interact with, the circumstances you encounter, the very world you perceive, all of it is you pushed out. This is why doing it alone is so crucial. For if everything is a reflection of your consciousness, then the only place where change can truly occur is within you. The outer world, being a reflection, can only change when you change. But here's the beautiful paradox: when you fully embrace the idea of doing it alone, when you take complete responsibility for your life experience, you also realize your profound connection to all of existence. For if you are the dreamer of your life, and if everything in your experience is you pushed out, then you are, in a very real sense, everything and everyone. This realization dissolves the illusion of separation. It reveals the underlying unity of all things. And from this place of unity, true love and compassion naturally arise. For how can you not love others when you recognize them as aspects of yourself? This is why the great spiritual teachers throughout history have emphasized self-realization. They understood that true transformation, true liberation can only come from within. They knew that each of us must make this journey alone, must discover our true nature for ourselves. As you continue on this path of doing it alone, you will begin to experience life in a completely new way. You will no longer feel at the mercy of external circumstances. You will no longer seek validation or approval from others. You will stand firm in the knowledge of your own divine nature, your own creative power. From this place of inner certainty, you will find that life begins to flow with an ease and grace you never thought possible. Opportunities will seem to arise spontaneously. Desires will manifest with surprising speed and in unexpected ways. You will experience a deep sense of peace and fulfillment, regardless of outer conditions. But perhaps the most beautiful transformation will be in your relationships with others. As you learn to do it alone, as you discover your own completeness, you will no longer approach relationships from a place of need or lack. Instead, you will come from a place of fullness, of love freely given, without condition or expectation. You will see others not as separate entities to be manipulated or controlled, but as beloved aspects of yourself, as unique expressions of the same consciousness that you are. This shift in perception will transform all your relationships, bringing a depth of love and understanding you may have thought impossible. And as you move through the world from this state of consciousness, you will naturally inspire others. Without effort or intention, you will serve as a living example of what is possible. Your very being will be a testament to the power of doing it alone, of taking responsibility for one's own consciousness. But remember, my dear friends, this is not about becoming some perfect, flawless being. It is about embracing all aspects of yourself, including your perceived flaws and weaknesses. For these too are part of the magnificent tapestry of your being, part of the unique way in which the infinite expresses itself through you. Doing it alone means loving all of yourself, accepting all of your experiences as part of your journey of self-discovery. It means recognizing that even your mistakes and failures are opportunities for growth and deeper understanding. As you continue to apply these principles, as you persist in the practice of doing it alone, you will find that your entire perception of life begins to shift. What once seemed solid and fixed will reveal itself to be fluid and responsive to your consciousness. The world will become a living, breathing reflection of your indent state. You will begin to see that every person, every circumstance, every experience in your life is a gift, a perfectly orchestrated opportunity for you to know yourself more fully, to express your divine nature more completely. Even the challenges and difficulties you face will be recognized as sacred invitations to grow and evolve. This shift in perception, this new way of experiencing life, is the true fruit of doing it alone. It is the realization of your divine nature, the embodiment of your creative power. It is the fulfillment of your purpose as a unique expression of the infinite. But let me be clear, my beloved. The state of consciousness is not some distant goal to be achieved in the future. It is not something you need to strive for or earn. It is your true nature, your natural state of being. It is available to you here and now, in this very moment. All that is required is a shift in your assumption, a change in your concept of self. And this shift, this change, can only occur within you. It is something you must do alone. So I urge you, my dear friends, embrace this teaching. Take it into your hearts and minds. Test it in the laboratory of your own experience, for it is only through your own direct experience that you will truly understand the power and the beauty of doing it alone. Remember, you are not separate from the creative power of the universe. You are that very power, focused into this particular point of view. You are the operant power in your world, the author of your own story, the creator of your own reality. Embrace this truth, live from this understanding, do it alone, and watch as your world transforms before your very eyes. Go forth from this place with a new understanding of your true nature, a new appreciation of your creative power. Let every thought, every feeling, every action be an expression of this truth. Live from the state of your wish fulfilled, knowing that as you do so, you are shaping the very fabric of your reality. Remember, my dear friends, you are never truly alone, for you are one with the source of all creation, one with the infinite possibilities that exist within consciousness. In doing it alone, you align yourself with this infinite power, this boundless creativity. So step boldly into your divine inheritance. Claim your rightful place as a conscious creator, as a living expression of the infinite. Do it alone, and in doing so, discover your inseparable oneness with all that is. May your journey be filled with joy, with wonder, and with the deep satisfaction that comes from living in alignment with your true nature. May you always remember the power that lies within you, the divine creativity that expresses itself through you. And above all, may you never forget that you are loved, you are supported, and you are infinitely powerful. For you are God in distribution, experiencing itself through the unique and beautiful expression that is you. Go now, and do it alone. Create the life you desire. Be the person you wish to be, for in truth, you already are that person. You need only to recognize and embody this truth.
My dear friends, tonight, I want to share with you something that will revolutionize your understanding of wealth itself. What if I told you that right now, as you listen to these words, your imagination is already constructing the bridge between your current state and the abundance you seek? What if the very restlessness you feel, the dissatisfaction with your present circumstances, is not a curse, but a divine signal that your consciousness is expanding beyond its current limitations? You see, we live in a world of infinite possibilities. Yet most of us remain imprisoned by the evidence of our senses. We look at our bank accounts, our circumstances, our apparent limitations, and we conclude that wealth is for others, never for us. But I am here tonight to tell you that this is the grandest illusion of all. The truth is this: wealth is not something you acquire. It is something you assume. It is not a destination you reach. It is a state of consciousness you inhabit. And if you have been feeling stirrings within you, if you have been experiencing certain signs and sensations, then I tell you now that your imagination is already preparing the way. But here's what most people miss. And this is crucial. The signs of approaching wealth are not what you think they are. They're not found in your external world first. They begin in the invisible realm of imagination, in the depths of your consciousness, long before they manifest in your physical experience. Let me share with you the sacred signs that indicate your consciousness is shifting toward wealth, toward abundance, toward the life you were meant to live. The first sign, and perhaps the most misunderstood, is what I call divine discontent. You begin to feel restless in circumstances that once seemed acceptable. The job that once provided security now feels like a prison. The routine that once brought comfort now stirs an inexplicable unease within you. But here's what's fascinating. This is the exact same feeling that every wealthy person experienced before their breakthrough. They all felt this divine stirring, this holy dissatisfaction with mediocrity. Most people resist this feeling. They try to silence it, to return to their former comfort. They medicate it with distractions, numb it with routine, or worse, they judge themselves for feeling ungrateful. But I tell you this, that discontent is not your enemy. It is your salvation. It is consciousness itself, stirring within you, preparing to expand beyond its current boundaries. Think of it this way. When you outgrow your clothes, they become uncomfortable. The discomfort isn't a punishment, it's evidence of growth. In the same way, when your consciousness outgrows your current circumstances, those circumstances become uncomfortable. Suddenly, you can't stay in that job that once felt stable. You can't remain in environments that drain your energy. You sense a calling for something more, even if you can't yet define what that more is. When you feel this divine discontent, you are like a seed that has been planted in the darkness of the earth. The seed must crack open, must break apart from what it was, before it can become what it is meant to be. This breaking is not destruction, it is transformation. And here's the secret that changes everything. The moment you stop resisting this discontent and begin to embrace it as a sign of your expanding consciousness, you align yourself with the very force that creates worlds. Consider the story of every great fortune. They all began with someone who could no longer tolerate their current reality. They felt the divine discontent, and instead of silencing it, they listened to it. They understood that comfort is the enemy of growth, and that God, your own divine consciousness, will disturb your peace to shift your direction. The second sign is the sudden flooding of your mind with ideas, visions, and possibilities that seem to come from nowhere. You find yourself imagining scenarios of success, wealth, and influence that feel both foreign and familiar. You wake up with business concepts you've never considered. You see yourself living in ways that your current reality cannot support. Pay attention to this. You're not just unhappy with your circumstances. You're being flooded with visions, ideas, and plans. You're waking up with thoughts you didn't go to bed with. You're thinking about business models, creative ventures, investment opportunities that seem to arise from thin air. This is not daydreaming, my friends. This is imagination, the divine faculty by which all things are created. When your imagination becomes active in this way, it is because consciousness is preparing to clothe itself in new forms. These visions are not random. They are revelations. They are consciousness showing you what is possible when you expand beyond your current limitations. The mistake most people make is dismissing these visions as fantasy. They say to themselves, "I'm just dreaming," or "I'm being unrealistic." But I tell you that these visions are more real than your current circumstances. They are the preview of coming attractions, the blueprint of your expanding consciousness. Listen carefully to this. Every great fortune, every magnificent achievement, Every transformative breakthrough began first, as an imaginal act. The external world is simply consciousness made visible. When God, your own divine I Am, speaks to you, it is through inspiration. He deposits vision into people he intends to use. If your mind is suddenly fertile, with ideas that seem beyond your previous thinking, you are likely being led toward the wealth connected to those ideas. Your imagination is not showing you what might be. It is showing you what shall be, if you will only assume the feeling of its reality. Don't ignore these visions. Don't dismiss them as impossible. Instead, live in them, feel them, assume the feeling of their fulfillment. Because in the realm of consciousness, assumption is the only reality that matters. The third sign is the mysterious alignment of people, opportunities, and resources around you. Suddenly, conversations lead to connections. Books appear that speak directly to your vision. People emerge who can help you in ways you never anticipated. Watch this carefully. It may start small. Someone offers help. An old contact reconnects. You discover a podcast, a book, or a mentor that speaks directly to your situation. Doors start opening where once you saw only walls. This is not coincidence. There is no such thing as coincidence in the realm of consciousness. This is the infinite intelligence of your own I Am orchestrating events to support the state you are growing into. When you begin to assume the feeling of wealth, the entire universe conspires to confirm that assumption. Here's what you must understand. These alignments are not happening to you. They are happening through you. Your consciousness, expanded to accommodate wealth, is now attracting the experiences that match that expanded state. The infinite intelligence that you are is working through relationships, timing, and information to bring about the fulfillment of your assumption. You may find that someone you haven't spoken to in years suddenly reaches out with an opportunity. You may discover that a book you randomly picked up contains the exact knowledge you need. You may meet someone who introduces you to someone else who changes your life. These are not accidents. They are the natural result of consciousness in motion. The moment you truly grasp this principle, you realize that you are not a victim of circumstances. You are the operant power in your own experience. You are not waiting for luck. You are creating the very experiences that others call lucky. The fourth sign is an increase in your spiritual sensitivity and discernment. You begin to hear the voice of your I Am more clearly. You start to distinguish between the thoughts that come from your limited, conditioned self and the inspirations that arise from your divine nature. This refinement is essential because wealth without wisdom is dangerous. God, your own divine consciousness, cannot entrust you with abundance until you have developed the spiritual maturity to handle it responsibly. You may notice that conversations that once entertained you now seem empty. Environments that once felt comfortable now feel spiritually stagnant. This is not judgment. This is growth. Your consciousness is tuning to a higher frequency, and what once resonated with your former state no longer matches your expanding awareness. This is the secret the wealthy know but rarely speak. True wealth is first a state of consciousness, and only secondarily a collection of material things. The fifth sign may seem contradictory, but it is perhaps the most important. Sometimes, before your consciousness can expand to accommodate wealth, it must first release what no longer serves your highest good. This is perhaps the most confusing yet powerful sign: loss. I know that sounds contradictory, but hear me out. Sometimes before consciousness multiplies your harvest, it clears the field. You may lose a job, a relationship, a source of income, or even your sense of direction. In the moment, this feels like defeat. It can feel devastating. But I tell you that loss is often the universe's way of creating space for something greater. It is consciousness clearing the field before planting new seeds. Here's the truth that will change how you see every loss. Sometimes consciousness subtracts to prepare you for a greater addition. It removes what no longer serves your destiny so that your hands will be free to receive what does. Look again at what you've lost. Was it really serving your highest good? Was it truly aligned with the person you're becoming? Often, we cling to things not because they're good for us, but because they're familiar. We hold on to jobs, relationships, and situations that drain our energy because we fear the unknown more than we trust the process of growth. But consciousness, your own divine awareness, knows better. It knows that before you can hold more, you must release what is keeping your hands full. It knows that before you can receive the new, you must make space by releasing the old. When you understand this principle, you stop cursing your losses and start blessing them. You recognize that what appears to be subtraction is actually preparation for multiplication. Every ending is a new beginning. Don't curse the loss. Understand its purpose. Wealth isn't just gained by addition. It often comes by subtraction first. The question is not, why did this happen to me? But what is this making room for in my life? Trust the pruning. What you lost may not return in the same form, but what's coming will make sense of everything that's been removed. The sixth sign is perhaps the most profound. You begin to experience a peace that defies explanation. Even when your external circumstances seem uncertain, there is a quiet confidence within you that all is well. This peace is not based on evidence, it is based on faith. It is the peace that comes from knowing that you are not separate from the source of all abundance. It is the calm assurance that what you have imagined, what you have assumed, what you have felt to be true, must and will manifest in your experience. This peace allows you to act without anxiety, to plan without panic, to move forward without fear. It is the sign that your consciousness has already accepted the reality of your wealth even before it appears in your external world. When you have this peace, you know that you are not hoping for wealth, you are expecting it. And expectation is the feeling that precedes manifestation. The seventh sign is a fundamental shift in how you speak about yourself and your future. You stop using the language of limitation and begin using the language of assumption. Instead of saying, I hope I will be wealthy, you begin to say, I am wealthy. Instead of I want success, you declare, I am successful. Watch this transformation carefully. You no longer speak like someone defeated. You no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstance. You're not just thinking about surviving. You're beginning to believe in thriving, even if your current bank account doesn't match your mindset. This is not positive thinking. This is consciousness speaking. When you truly assume a state, your language naturally reflects that assumption. You cannot maintain the feeling of wealth while speaking the language of poverty. Your words are not separate from your consciousness. They are the very expression of it. Remember this biblical truth. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. If your inner life is beginning to echo abundance, gratitude, generosity, and vision, it's only a matter of time before your outer life reflects the same. The change is spiritual first, then physical. You stop thinking small because consciousness itself is expanding. You begin to see yourself not as you were, but as you are becoming. This shift in self-perception is one of the most powerful indicators that wealth is on its way. Your words are not just sounds. They are the vehicles by which consciousness expresses itself in the world. Every word you speak is either confirming your current limitations or affirming your expanding possibilities. The eighth sign is the paradoxical increase in your desire to give, even when you feel you have little to give. True wealth consciousness is never stingy or fearful. It operates from the assumption of abundance, not scarcity. Here's something that might surprise you. Many people on the path to wealth start giving more before they ever receive more. As strange as it may sound, your spirit begins to understand the law of sowing and reaping. When you begin to feel wealthy in consciousness, you naturally want to share that wealth. You understand that giving is not loss. It is circulation. It is the way consciousness expands and expresses itself through you. You no longer cling tightly to every dollar. You start blessing others, giving without fear, because your heart trusts that what you release returns to you multiplied. This generosity is not calculated. It is spontaneous. It flows from the recognition that you are not separate from the source of all abundance. When you give from this understanding, you are not depleting yourself. You are affirming your connection to the infinite. This isn't foolishness. This is faith, and generosity is the soil in which abundance grows. If you're feeling more drawn to giving, that's a powerful sign that consciousness is preparing to increase your storehouse. The wealthy know this secret. You cannot outgive the universe. Every gift you give is a gift you give to yourself. When you give from a consciousness of abundance, you are not making yourself poorer. You are making yourself richer. You are demonstrating to consciousness that you believe in its infinite capacity to provide. The ninth sign is an insatiable appetite for learning and growth. You begin to invest in yourself, in books, courses, mentors, and experiences that expand your understanding of wealth, success, and consciousness itself. This hunger is not mere curiosity. It is consciousness preparing itself for greater expression. You cannot maintain a state of wealth consciousness without constantly expanding your understanding of what wealth means and how it operates. The knowledge you seek is not just practical, it is spiritual. You want to understand not just how to make money, but how to live as a wealthy person. You want to know not just the techniques of success, but the consciousness that underlies all success. Remember, wealth is not something you get, it is something you become, and becoming requires constant growth and expansion. The 10th sign is the development of an inner strength that allows you to persist through challenges that would have previously defeated you. You find yourself able to do things that once seemed impossible, to continue when others would quit, to maintain your vision when others lose faith. And here's what's remarkable. Suddenly, things that once overwhelmed you now inspire you. You find strength where you used to find excuses. You stop procrastinating. You start showing up early, staying late, doing more. This strength is not human willpower. It is divine power flowing through you. It is the power of consciousness itself, expressing through your assumption of wealth. When you truly believe in your heart that you are wealthy, you find the strength to act like a wealthy person, even when the evidence suggests otherwise. That strength isn't just coming from you. It's flowing through you. That's consciousness equipping you. When it calls you into wealth, it also clothes you with the capacity to chase it. This strength manifests in many ways. The courage to start a business, the persistence to complete a project, the faith to invest in yourself, the determination to overcome obstacles. It doesn't mean the journey will be easy, but it does mean you'll be empowered. You'll find grace to do hard things that once seemed impossible. This is the strength that builds empires, creates fortunes, and transforms lives. And it is available to you right now, in this moment, if you will only assume it. Here is a fundamental principle that most people do not understand. Consciousness always creates the vision before it releases the provision. You will see the dream before you see the dollars. You will feel the calling before you touch the cash. You will have the idea before you have the income to fund it. This is not a flaw in the system. It is the system. Vision builds faith, and faith is the bridge between consciousness and manifestation. If you had all the resources from the beginning, you would not need to exercise faith. You would not need to grow. You would not need to expand your consciousness. And while that might feel frustrating or even unfair, it is actually a divine pattern. It's how consciousness works, not to confuse you, but to prepare you. Think about every major figure who was blessed with wealth and influence. Each one received a vision before they received the resources. The pattern is consistent. Vision first, provision later. And in between those two, there is a process, a period of preparation and testing. The gap between your vision and your current reality is not a problem to be solved. It is a space to be filled with faith, assumption, and persistent imagination. That gap is where the magic happens. That gap is where consciousness transforms itself into form. If you've ever been given a vision that felt too big for your current reality, you're in good company. Consciousness doesn't give small visions because it's not small. The gap between your vision and your reality is not a sign that you're wrong. It's a sign that you're called. Many people wait for money to start moving, but in the kingdom of consciousness, movement often precedes money. Consciousness looks for people who act on the vision before it's fully resourced. That's how it measures faith, and faith is what activates favor. Every moment you spend faithfully imagining your vision is a moment you spend building the bridge between where you are and where you are going. My friends, what I have shared with you tonight is not theory. It is the law of consciousness itself. These signs are not random occurrences. They are the natural result of consciousness expanding beyond its current limitations. But here is the most important truth of all. You do not need to wait for these signs to appear. You can create them right now through the power of assumption. You can assume the feeling of wealth, and that assumption will create the very signs I have described. When you assume the feeling of wealth, when you live in your imagination as if you were already wealthy, your consciousness has no choice but to conform to that assumption. The external world, being simply consciousness made visible, must reflect what you have assumed to be true. Tonight, as you listen to these words, you stand at a crossroads. You can continue to live from your current limitations, or you can step into the assumption of wealth. You can remain bound by the evidence of your senses, or you can live from the truth of your imagination. But let me warn you, signs are not the destination. They are the invitation. You must respond. When consciousness gives you a vision, you must act. When it opens a door, you must walk through it. When it sends the right people, you must listen. The choice is yours, and it is the most important choice you will ever make. Because the moment you choose to assume wealth consciousness, the entire universe begins to reorganize itself to support that assumption. Heaven provides the opportunity, but you must take the responsibility. Faith without works is dead. The signs are the spark, but the fire is your responsibility. So I ask you tonight, what will you do with the signs? Will you continue to doubt them, or will you discern them? Will you ignore the small whispers, or will you follow them into fullness? I leave you with this promise. If you will assume the feeling of wealth, if you will live in your imagination as if you were already wealthy, if you will persist in this assumption despite the evidence of your senses, then wealth must manifest in your experience. We are entering a time where those who walk in faith and obedience will see unprecedented favor. I don't say that to excite you. I say that because it's happening all around the world. People are being awakened to new purpose, new ventures, new visions, and those who listen and move will be the stewards of this new wave of wealth. This is not hope. This is law. This is not wishful thinking. This is the way consciousness works. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are the operant power in your own experience. If you're hearing this, you are not disqualified. Your past does not cancel your promise. Consciousness does not call the qualified. It qualifies the called. And if you're seeing these signs, you are being called.